Steamboat pilots wore gaudy clothes, diamond breast pins. They were gentlemen about town without the education. So they were a little flamboyant. They were a little gaudy. It's kind of like athletic stars today, if you will. People come from backgrounds where you wouldn't expect education and refinement, and when they get money, they flaunt it. Clemens enjoyed that, especially considering that he came from something of a straight-laced background. I mean, his mother, hardcore Presbyterian, looked down on dancing, for example. One of his letters, when he describes taking his mother down to New Orleans and actually took her to a dance. And he describes in this letter to a family member, I think it was to his brother, might have been to his sister-in-law, how the mother was just absolutely scandalized, dancing the schottische. So in a way, this is also a chance for young Samuel Clemens to get out of the very small village. He's now in a very cosmopolitan profession. He's plying the river between two of America's major cities, St. Louis and New Orleans. And New Orleans is one of the most cosmopolitan cities in the United States. It's freedom. It's power. When he's on board that ship, doing his shift as pilot, he runs the ship. The captain can tell him where to stop. He gets wages. It's not like he's an entrepreneur. But the degree to which he has power and control over other people is also very, very attractive to this young man who was with great talents and was very full of himself. And this is exactly the kind of job that would attract him. It gave him business opportunities. Mind you, he lost money in all of them, but he's buying and selling chickens and eggs and all sorts of things up and down the river, which he stashes in the hold of the ship he's on. And it gives him an experience of knowing people. The riverboat was an American, the Mississippi riverboat, the Mississippi Valley as a whole. I mean, these kinds of boats were used in all the western waterways, the Missouri, the Ohio, etc. These were kind of emblems of what America was about. They were cheap, they were gaudy, they moved fast, and they carried not just freight, but a human freight that was from all over the world. Melville in The Confidence Man uses the steamboat as the emblem of America. In many short stories, one of the most famous of Southwest humor, The Big Bear of Arkansas, takes place on a steamboat, which has a cosmopolitan environment. Uncle Tom's Cabin, much of the action early on takes place on a steamboat going south into the heart of slavery. The steamboat was emblematic of America on the move and on the make. And how heady to be right in the middle of that. That's what it was to Samuel Clemens. He got to see everything, know everybody, hear a multitude of different kinds of language. It was a very different kind of education than one would have expected for a man coming from a family with